All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the stock market update video. And today we'll be doing support and resistance levels for QQQ, S&P 500, Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Meta, as well as the most likely scenario where price will be heading into later this week. So on Friday and pretty much on Thursday as well, you guys know how I talked about this uptrending support here, and this downtrending resistance is where we'll be trading within the range, very likely scenario, and S&P 500 broke below its weekly support, but QQQ did not. So you can see on the weekly time frame, initial move right here, bounce. So now that's the pivot being set, right? And we broke below that last week. So that's a weekly downtrend confirming. And I said that when we get the S&P on the weekly downtrend confirming, we need follow through from QQQ for on the downside for SPY to continue to drop. If QQQ does not break that weekly support, then SPY is likely going to bottom out, as well as QQQ. So we go to the weekly time frame on QQQ, and let's zoom in. Okay, so we look at the pivots. So this initial drop, so that's the pivot low, right? So that's 354.71, and we bounced. And this is a lower high, meaning this high of the pivot is lower than this high, and this is the next drop. So if this broke below this prior weekly low, that's also a weekly downtrend confirmed. And I said that if QQQ does not do that, SPY is not going much lower. And we were also really close to support zone as well for SPY. You can see right at this support where I talked about that will very, very likely bounce on when I talked about it on Friday over the weekend. I said we're probably going to bounce at 430 because you can see the amount of times we rejected from 430 right there before getting above it. So when price is above it, we're going to act as support. So when price is below it, we're always going to act as resistance. And we're above it, so we can see all this rejection here are resistance when we're below it. Right, you can see all these price action, and we're above it. Look at that. That's the support. We came down from a significant drop straight into that strong support zone, right? The chances of us bouncing are quite high because of the speed that we came to it. If we were like chopping like this over here, and then we chop around and we consolidate a little bit, go sideways, and then drop, go sideways, and kind of goes close to here, and then come to this 430, then I would be a little bit of cautious saying that it's going to bounce. And as well as I'll be, a bit wary that we might go lower because of all the supports formed along the way for the bears. So it's such a move like this, straight into 430 while QQ not breaking its weekly support at the same time gives us confluence of signals that we're potentially get a bounce here. Doesn't mean we're going to bounce all the way straight up, right? But we know that the most likely scenario down here is probably a bounce. And then we'll have to see what happens after that bounce, right? Do we form a hourly uptrend back to the bull's favor after the bounce, or we just have a weak bounce? So we'll take a look at QQ right now. So initial bounce, right? This initial move. Hourly pivot being set right there. So, and we broke above it in the after hours. I want to see us break above it tomorrow during market hours, but we ran out of time. We had a big candle at the end of the day, 0.4%, just straight shot up. I think it was like the last 15 minutes, pretty much. And let's see, did we break by it? Yeah, we slightly above it. So this is the pivot high, and we broke above it during market hours by 359.7, by 10 cents. So we have hourly uptrend confirmed by 10 cents during market hours at like the last minute. And then getting a little bit of follow through in after hours. But tomorrow, I want to see during market hours that we have a move up to give us a confident hourly uptrend. So hourly uptrend now in back to the bulls after it's been a while. So we can more confidently say this level was bottom of this drop, and that the bears were not able to break below this pivot. So the bulls play defense here. Much the area bulls needed to play defense, otherwise the structure of the chart would start to get a little bit ugly, and bears would start gaining even more momentum. And right now, bears still have a chance, but they're probably going to take a little bit of rest after such a significant move in such a short period of time. So even if let's say bulls bounce up here, right? And that was the end of the bounce. Bulls come back up, fill this gap, 330. Bears still have a chance to take this down. So we'll have to see once we get that bounce going, more clues on the bounce, see how significant or strong that bounce is. So we're probably looking at that later this week and give us a better gauge to will there be more downside or not, because SPY is still weak at the moment. All right, let's take a look at SPY here. SPY also confirmed an hourly uptrend as well here. Initial move, pivot being set, hourly uptrend confirmed at the 430 level. Me, the most likely scenario, we'll probably come back up to want to fill this gap. But before filling the gap, we're going to test 438 as well. So I want to see QQQ filling the gap as well with SPY. Coming up to this 364 zone for QQQ. Bounce, and big picture, still that equilibrium tightening up if we do get that bounce, right? And then probably going to tighten up into October at least. And same thing, SPYs don't have that look anymore. It's more so a downtrending resistance still there. This is more like a triangle look. You can draw this falling wedge too as well. Be looking more like that channel-ish look. But I like to look at QQQ more because the tech stocks are the ones that are leading the market. So, but we bounce off of both of them, bounce off of strong support. And now let's take a look. We'll see if SPY will come up to 437. Hourly uptrend intact. So let's see if it continues. Right, let's take a look at Tesla here. Tesla just likes to go from strength to weakness to strength to weakness, relative strength, outperforming the market, underperforming the market, outperforming the market, underperforming the market. And today slightly outperformed. And we came down to this, obviously, this support level, close to 240. You can see all the cluster here we couldn't get over. And then we touched it, so we bounced. Makes sense. I've been dropping like a waterfall for the last quite a bit, 14% straight down. So 14% straight down to a key level of support. Getting an initial bounce is very likely. Doesn't mean we're gonna bounce all the way up here, but most likely chance scenario here is that bounce. The hourly uptrend confirming. We can more confidently say this could potentially be the temporary bottom of this drop. We're lucky coming back to test 252. If we can't break above 252, then we'll probably roll down to retest this teal looking line, because this is the big picture of what Tesla looks like overall. Uptrending support, downtrending resistance. That's the big picture we're looking at, tightening up into October. And staying within it. Yep, see all these rejections here aligning with this. All these supports aligning with these supports. So that's the big picture we'll be looking at. Until it breaks out of that range, we'll know where it's going to be trading in terms of the big picture wise. And just follow it until it shows us something else. All right, let's take a look at Nvidia. Nvidia has broken out of it, but the idea is still there because we did not break below the weekly pivot, meaning we're still within a weekly tiny range. So let's go to the weekly charts. You can see big move up, big move down. The move down did not break below the prior pivot there. So it's in range. This could just bounce back up as well and tighten up. Also form head and shoulders on the weekly chart. This is the right shoulder. This is the head. And if we do bounce close to here and it can't get over it, it's going to form a right shoulder. That's going to take us a couple of weeks because this is a weekly chart. Probably at least 1, 2, 3, at very, very minimum 3 weeks. Ideally more than that, because if it's 3 weeks, it'll just look like 3 chopping things, three lines, and it's very hard to form. It will form ugly looking head and shoulders, but it doesn't have to be textbook perfect. The idea of a head and shoulders, psychology of it, it's just an uptrend into a downtrend if it does break that neckline. Yeah. So we'll, yeah, it doesn't have to be picture perfect head and shoulders. And yeah, it'll take us a couple of weeks. Let's see if we bounce back up here. Are we going to reject from this key levels as well over here? When it does happen, we're still very far away, so we don't have to worry about that at the moment of that head and shoulders. We just want to get above 420 into this 436 again. So we got back above 420 today. So now we're going to see if we can bounce back above and test that 437 zone for me. It needs to form a daily uptrend sooner or later, because it's not even on the hour. Let's see. Hourly trend broke below here. Confirmed there. Could call this a double bottom, or the pivot's being set. We did confirm hourly trend here, so let's see if we can break above today's high and get back above today's high to potentially come back up to test this 437. All right, let's take a look on Apple. Let's see, Apple. We've been looking at this big picture for a very long time. Downtrending resistance, uptrending support. So similar idea, tightening range, big move up, big move down, gets smaller and smaller and smaller. We're at that bottom of that support for a while. And while the market is being weak, Apple actually held up in this bottom zone. So that's a good sign. We've been bouncing off of it that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is the 8th day that we bounced off it. So let's see some offense going on for bulls. We're probably going to come up here to test this 180 again. You can see we just cannot get over 180 for the 6th time. But, as long as Apple holds around this level until the market QQQ starts to bounce, then Apple will probably get a much better chance to break 180 versus when you're getting a red day on QQQ while Apple's trying to break 180. It's not gonna really help them, right? So Apple has been holding strong, and let's get some offense going for bulls, because we've been playing defense for a while. And let's see. I want to see us break above today's high, which is 176.97, which just call it 177, for us to come from a hourly uptrend back to the bulls. Okay. We do have a small one here. Let's see. No, not really. We just need to break above pretty much 177. Here, hourly uptrend back to the bulls. Then I would say we're going to come up to test this 180. Probably tomorrow. I'm going to say we're probably going to get more of a bounce follow through tomorrow on QQ. If we don't, then bulls are really weak. Because after today's bounce, if we don't get any follow through, it's going to shape us some red flags on the market. Amazon straight waterfall into its support zone, and obviously it's been holding this 129, 130 zone is very key support. See the amount of times we've been testing that level, especially after a straight drop into it. Bears are a little tired, so essentially we bounced, and structure of the chart hasn't really changed. So technically speaking, bears are still in control, and as long as we don't break above prior candles highs, bears are still in control. But we have an initial sign of bounce where it's big enough now that we can, if we break above today's high, then we'll get the hourly uptrend confirm, and we'll also get a break above these daily candles high, and we're probably going to come back up to test this 132. Ideally, we fill this gap for the bulls as soon as it can. But Amazon is always the last to pump and the first to dump. So we'll see if the other one's going to carry it. So we'll see if Apple starts bouncing, and or Microsoft starts to bounce, Nvidia as well, and see if carries the market QQ, and we might come up and go like App as well together with the other mega cap tech stocks, 3% away. Google's see here. Yeah, not expecting much on this one. Just like to chop around every time it goes to a new level. So this was the zone, then it needs to stay above because this is the top of the zone. When it broke below 131.8, it came down to this second zone. Because every time it goes to a new zone, it just chops around. So we're probably going to come up to test this 131.85 again. Rejected twice so far, but QQ was weak both of those days, so we didn't end up breaking above it, which makes perfect sense. So if we get a strong day on QQ tomorrow, and we reject from this place again, then it's not going to get over it. It'll probably chop around here. So we'll see if when we get a strong day in QQ, will Google show up as well. We're pretty much right in striking distance, right? Because if it can't get over that on a strong day for QQ, then when QQ has another red day, it's definitely going to come down lower. So, but today, today's performing just the same as QQ. So no relative strength or weakness. Yeah, 0.66%. But big enough bounce where now we can dip up. Let's see, do we have a pivot here? This is the pivot, and we broke above it. Yeah, call this an hourly uptrend. I want us to break above 131.8. Otherwise, nobody really cares about this hourly uptrend if we can't even break above 131.86. That'll be this key level right here. All right, Microsoft. Choppy. That's super choppy look. Very similar look to Amazon. Just a straight waterfall drop into its support at 317. Holding it twice, so I want to see us get more follow through. You can see the bulls and the bears battling on the hourly chart. Bear, bull, bear. Bull just keep on playing defense every time it hits the 315 level. And we finally bounce above it out of this falling wedge bull. So tomorrow, the most likely scenario for Microsoft is probably more follow through from the bull side. And we need to get above 318. Look out of this falling wedge, bullish. And we can't even get over 318. Nah, that's pretty weak. That's really weak. Yeah. Over 318, we'll probably come down to this 323. But we'll see if we can get above 318 first. Similar look though, big tiny range. Because this low is still above this pivot low. So tiny range still intact. We'll see if it continues and get that bounce tomorrow. Right, Meta, still in this chop zone. Okay. Uptrending resistance. You can see we tested that probably 11 times. And support right here, tested about 5 times. Roughly tested again today. Let's zoom in to see what it looks like. So pretty much tested it right in the morning and then bounced straight off of it. The sign, that's a big bounce for sure. That is close to 3% bounce. So yeah, so you can definitely see bulls wanting to defend that level. Bounce, 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 bounce again, bounce again. And then we have formed a clear hourly uptrend here on this one. And actually, it's a little bit unclear, but because this is all the same level. So, but we already have a much bigger bounce than most of the other mega cap tech stocks. And you guys know that I talk about size of the bounce, very important. So we'll see if it continues tomorrow. All right, that's all for you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for more updates. Have a great rest of you guys' day.